Hey, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you, hopefully elect, and through the Spirit. You know, um, wanted to do this based on the fact that, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, there's a certain level of perfection that we have to get to before the Heavenly Father is pleased with us to behold us again as sons, and just meditating on this topic because, man, it's just like, damn, brothers in the truth really be catching hell, man. Brothers really be going through it, and to those that don't have understanding, they may look at certain of brothers, like, y'all are supposed to be men of the Lord, but because, these people in their false perception of what a man of the Lord is supposed to be, to these people, a man of the Lord, he's supposed to have it together. Everything's supposed to be going good, right? When people think about a man of the Lord, they think about, guys like Joel Osteen, Creflo Dollar, right? Just in a good case, when it's quite the opposite, right? But nevertheless, the Lord is dealing with us. And the shit hurts, it sucks, but, the Lord is doing us a favor, man. If we want to be partakers at the table with Yahweh Shai, well, this is what it takes. This is what we got to go through. It's necessary. I want to get this real quick. Because again, if you want to, we want the Heavenly Father to behold us as sons again. We want to partake at Yahweh Shai's table. Well, this is what's necessary. It has to be like this. So I want to get this in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. Well, that's just because I just quoted this. I didn't know it was here. I was just start at verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon 3:1. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery. All right, in a physical sense, when brothers so-called die, pass away, right? But even not so in death, because like I said, brothers really do be catching hell, and people on the outside, family members, friends, or whatever, they see that what brothers go through, but they don't understand, they don't get it, and they're not supposed to get it. But it says, and they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. And you see, like I said, even in the physical sense, when, actually in actual death, hey, to those that die in Yahweh Bashim Shah, they're good, because, hey, more so talking about the elect, those that die in Yahweh Bashim Shah, they're going to, come back with Yahweh Shah when he makes his second return. They're going to have shotgun on those chariots, man. But again, not even in death, because like the scriptures say, those that are in trouble rest with us, right? Because though, the scriptures talk about as well how, hey, where we are killed all the day long, the prophets are killed all the day long, it's just like the men of the Lord can't catch a break, and like I said, people see that on the outside, they see that. In verse 3 again, it says, and they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. Because you see, we understand that this is necessary. This is what it takes, man. Because the Lord is dealing with us as sons, But you see, man, again, we have to get to a point where we're perfected in the spirit. And that's what the sufferings are about. All right, because we're not going to be perfect in the flesh. All right. But through the blueprint that Yahweh Shah laid for us, he showed us that it can be done via the spirit. Because Yahweh Shah was perfect in the flesh. But we're never going to get to that point. We're never going to be to that, that good, right? But nevertheless, our spirit is going to be perfected. And with that being said, the fruits of the spirit, that's what we are learning. Certain qualities, values, virtues, and, things of that nature. Which that's the spirit. I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm going to read on. It says, verse 4, For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. So you see, man, our hope, our expectation at the end of this, job well done, right? What we all want to hear, Israelite indeed, job well done, my son, right? That crowning process, those that get crowned, that's the end of all this, man. It's all going to be worth it. It's all going to be worth it, man. But verse 5, it says, and having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. So again, the reward that we're going to get, Lord willing, will that number, man, it's going to be totally worth it. I was just in a situation earlier today, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of fucked me up, and I don't mean it in the sense of like my faith or shook my faith or anything like that. No, but you think you get to a point where you're at a point, right, where you think you're on a certain level. I always mention this, because you think you get to a point, and then the Lord has to break you down, man, again, and build you back up, and that's the case with this situation that I'm in. The Lord, he really put me through it, and so much that I had to just, the water Yahweh Shem Shah for not putting me in, putting the spirit on me to curse the Most High, because we can't make those type of decisions just because, in the heat of the moment, right? Like the scripture say, be patient when thou art changed to a lower state, right? But reading verse 5 again, it says, and having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. So again, all this is going to pay off soon, and quite frankly, what we're going to get on the other side, we're going to be looking back, like damn, because we really don't deserve what we got coming for us. We really don't deserve it. Like I said, the reward that we're going to get, man, is going to far exceed anything that we could ever imagine. And all we had to do was endure this little season of suffering, this little season of chastening. It's just like, man, we don't deserve it, what we've got waiting on us on the other side. So it'll be worth it. And I just say that through faith, because obviously, I don't know, I don't know what we've got waiting on us, but that hope, that's a part of what keeps us going. That's a part of what, it just, keeps brothers going, man. Because I just know, man, it's just like, man, the Lord really got to put an end to this, man. The Lord really has to put a stop to this. It's getting too much. If it wasn't for the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, no brothers, we all would have tapped out a long time ago. But nevertheless, it says, for the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. So you see, Because, hey, and we touched on this past Saturday at the camp, you know, going into that Sirach, the 6th chapter, how a friend, he has to be proven. You can't just call anyone your friend, you know, they have to be proven. Well, that's the case for us. Lord willing, we're at that number. You know, we're being proven. Because, again, if we want to partake in Yahweh's table, all right, we want to be a part of that small circle, that exclusive circle. And we want the Heavenly Father to behold us as sons again, to be worthy for himself, to be found worthy for himself. Wait, we got to go through this. It's necessary. So more and more it makes sense why the scriptures talk about glorying in your tribulations, you know, because, hey, when you read verse 6, it says, as gold is Salakia, as gold in the furnace, hath he tried them and received them as a burnt offering. So you see, man, and that's comforting because, you know, the Lord compares his sons more than precious gold. We're more precious than fine gold, the finest gold, you know. But like gold and silver and precious elements, you know, you got to go through that fire, man, to remove the imperfections, you know, and that's what the Lord is doing to us. Trimming the fat, right? Because we are the sacrifice. That's, you know, with that burnt offering, right? That's us, you know, and hey, this is a sacrifice. Lord willing, it's an acceptable sacrifice to the Lord. Lord willing. But nevertheless, going through that fire, the furnace of afflictions, this is what it takes, man, to you know, this is what it takes. This is what we got to go through. Again, you know, because it hurts like holy hell, but this is what it's about. This is what this truth is about. You know, this is what this truth is about, man. So with that being said, again, the Lord, he has to, you know, refine us. You know, he has to try us. He has to, you know, again, all the going through the fiery furnace, going through all the afflictions and sufferings is meant for a purpose. Because through the sufferings, we develop these qualities. Going back to what I was mentioning earlier about how we're not going to be perfect in the flesh like Yahushua, but we are learning to be perfected in the spirit. Now, ultimately, the being perfect in the flesh is going to come, you know, when we get those new bodies in the chariot. But until then, it's going to be a never-ending process of, you know, always being under construction, you know, enduring until the end. So I'm going to read this in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So you see, that's a standard that, you know, the Lord requires of us. You know, we got to be perfected in the flesh, in the spirit of Salakia. We got to be perfected in the spirit, right? And when you go into that perfect, the word there is teleios, the Greek word, and it says, brought to its end, finished, wanting nothing, necessary to completeness. It says, consummate human integrity in virtue. So you see, those spiritual qualities that we have to develop, you know, because if we are to partake in that joint heirship with Yahushua and to be the leaders of the new world to come under Yahushua, then hey, you know, these are the certain qualities, virtues, values that we have to develop, such as patience, like I said, integrity, like I said here, right? humility and all these other things. This is what we're learning through our fires and our trials and our tribulations, our afflictions. This is, all the things that we're learning, we're developing. It's the point of all, going through all this hell and afflictions. I'm gonna get this real quick. Bear with me, because that was really the only precept that I had. So, the Spirit is gonna do what it do. So, I'm gonna get this in the book of Psalm. Psalm chapter 119. Psalm chapter 119 and 71. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. So you see, it speaks for itself. I'm gonna read that in NLT. It says, my suffering was good for me, for it taught me to pay attention to your decrees. So you see, because the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Shem Shai brings forth life, productivity, all right? Righteousness is will flourish, right? Man. So it was good for us to go through the sufferings, all right? It was necessary, because through our sufferings we learn to, develop these virtuous qualities. That's what wisdom, that's what she teaches you. She teaches you virtue. All right. That's how we obtain favor in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai. Because that's another thing. We are learning to apply wisdom. So all this, through our trials, tribulations, our afflictions and sufferings, this is what we're developing. All right. And via the Spirit, the Lord, more and more, Lord willing, He's pleased with us. Now, again, granted, we're not going to be perfect in the flesh. That's why we're hoping in the Lord's mercy, and that's why I read it earlier, or the Spirit had me read it earlier, because I wasn't going to bring that out. But nevertheless, to add on to that point, going back to how we are the sacrifice. Well, Lord willing, when that time comes, because America is one big altar, as we know, or as we should know. All right, America's one big altar, and 2/3 they're just going to be fuel for the fire, man. Right, but the hopeful elect, Lord willing, our sacrifice is going to pay off. Lord willing, is going to be an acceptable sacrifice to the Lord, and we're going to obtain that mercy, that favor. We're brothers going to be all right, and sisters. All right, the hopeful elect, man, we're going to be all right. We're going to be good. This is why we got to go through this now, so we're not condemned with the world. But nevertheless, that's what, our trials, tribulations, afflictions, sufferings, this is what it's all, this is what we're developing, the virtuous qualities. I'm going to get this in James chapter 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Because again, now, granted, we don't understand, when we're newer, all right, in the faith, and it's spiritual. It's crazy because, Slaki, I'm going to go back real quick to Matthew 5:48, because there was another point in that definition. Because we all have to come as newborn babes, right? And it's spiritual, because the stages in this thing, you got new believers, which they're in that stage where they're babes, right? And then you got some that are, grown up, they're in that child stage, right? Spiritually speaking. And then you got those that are, more seasoned, basically in their teenage stage. And then you got those that are in their adult stages, in this truth, spiritually speaking, right? So going back to that Matthew 5:24, going back to the definition of perfect, in the blue letter, it says, it says, matter of fact, I'm gonna read a few of these points again, because it says brought to its end, finished. Because again, like the scriptures talk about the perfecting of the saints, because we all have to get to a point where the Lord is pleased with us. All right, and He's satisfied with us according to our measure, whatever measure that may be. But we all have to get to a point where, you know, those you know, spiritual, those virtuous, those values, man. You know, we learn those qualities, right? But I'm gonna jump down because it said full grown adult of full age, mature. So you see, because this thing is a part of this thing is it's about growing, you know, maturing, leveling up, you know. So you know, you can't be a babe forever, man. You know, eventually you got to get to a point where, you know, you go from a child, to a babe, to a child, to an adult, to a teen, a young, you know, adolescent. From there, you're a full-blown adult. You see, so you know, going back to James chapter 1, verse 2 again. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, because hey, if everything's all good, then you know, hey, you ought to get worried, man. You ought to get worried, because the Lord probably ain't dealing with you. You know, because a part of you know, counting all joy when you fall into these diverse temptations, you know, hey, you know, you might be catching hell, but at the same time, it's like, man, the water, you know, the water Yahweh is dealing with me. You know, that's a part of the comfort, at least for me. You know, that you know, keeps a. It's hard for me, you know, to put a smile on my face physically, but you know, spiritually speaking, you know, it's just like, you know, I'm able to smile, you know, on the back of my mind, because you know, I just know that the Lord is dealing, and you know, I'm grateful. Like I said, it's when everything's going good, that's when I start getting nervous. Like, man, Lord, you still there? You know, like what's going on? But that's that fear, you know. That's a good thing, you know. That mystery, right? You know, it's like and it keeps you on your toes, you know. You know, it's like a woman. You're dealing with a woman. You can't let her know, you know. You can't let her know all points from A to Z, man. You know, you got to keep that mystery, you know. And in the back of her mind, she's questioning, like, man, does he still love me? Did I do something wrong? You know, and she's questioning herself. She's examining herself, like, man, did I do something? Is he mad? Well, that's how we are with the Heavenly Father. You know, that fine line, man. You know, Lord, keeping us on our toes, right? But it says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have a perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So you see, all right. You see, man, going back to that definition of perfect, wanting nothing, you know, get to a point where, hey, because they're going to get to a point where, hey, we're not going to have to ask for faith. We're not going to have to ask for patience. We're already going to have it. You know, we're going to get to our you know, measure according to the Spirit, right? You know, we're going to get to a point where we fill our measure. You know, and the Lord's going to be satisfied. Because, like it says in verse 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So you see, well, you know, eventually it's going to get to a point where we're not going to have to ask, because we're already going to have it. You know, it's already going to be in us. You see, so we're going to be perfect, wanting nothing, you know, because, again, man, you know, hey, we're going to be perfected in the Spirit, you know, and it's really going to play out, you know, when Jacob's trouble and the mandation of that MOTB, that's when it's really going to show. You know, that's when it's really going to be made known who the Lord is dealing with. You know, brothers are going to be walking around in that day, and people are just going to know, man, like there's something different about those guys, because they, like I said, man, you know, brothers been catching so much hell, right? Well, hey, in that day, man, it's just, you know, so to say, it's just going to be kind of almost like another day in the office, you know, because brother's so used to catching hell, you know. So in that day, it's just gonna be, you know, hey, like the scriptures talk about, you know, brothers are gonna be laughing while even when us dying, starving. Brothers are gonna be straight. Brothers are gonna be glowing, you know. So that's what all this is about: the sufferings, the trials, and the tribulations. All right, it's, you know, the Lord is getting us to that point to where, hey, in the spirit, man, He's right where He wants us to be. All right, in the spirit, He's right where, or Salakia, we are right where He wants us to be. In the spirit, all right, we've got to a point where we are right where the Lord wants us to be. You know, so hey, count it all joy, man. You know, the Lord is dealing with you, man. You know, so Lord, one of this edifying call, how long you like Yahweh Bashim El Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, elect.